about just like this. And that's what most people do. They put it where they think the animal's at, and they just put the food in there, they open the door, and they're ready to go. That mama, because they go in and they're just food, that thing slams, and they realize that they're trapped in there, they're exposed, and so they are absolutely just mortified. So she wants to chew out. Well, when she did, she boogered up her nose and her mouth, and her bottom right canine is now pointed this way. It's broken completely off. I can't take her to have that fixed. It's broken down into the gum because she's got a pouch full of BBs. So what you want to do, if you ever go to set a trap, usually what I do is I will, say it's up against a garage or whatever, I will take something and lay down. I've actually got a friend in the medical field, and she gives me these surgical drapes. And so when I go, that's, I'll lay down a drape just because, the ground might be wet, it might be, I've picked them up where they've been sitting in mud, and it just makes them more comfortable, and they're not as likely to freak out. If it's raining, now I've got cheat sheets for y'all that you can keep in your car, and it says don't set a trap if it's raining. What if you set the trap and it starts raining? So what I'll do is, you can use a shower curtain, a tarp. I've used the painter's rolled out plastic, but I'll just take a trash bag, and you can just put it just over the end, just enough. You don't want to do it because if it's summertime and it's going to get hot, you want them to be able to breathe. But I try to give them a little something, and then I'll also take a blanket or whatever and lay over there. If that's covered, they're not going to freak out, and they're not going to try to get out. And then we've actually had to euthanize several because they have broken their own jaws trying to wrench to get out because they don't realize they can't chew their way out of these things. So somebody else has set a trap, and you are, it's in your area, and you said, okay, I'll get it out. And you get there, and the possum's in the trap. Bella, let's see. I was gonna bring a little girl that was a little more wild, but she was asleep. And seeing as how she was a little more wild, I just let her sleep because I'm tired.
Come here, Bella. Come here, Bella.
Bella had a broken jaw when she was a baby, so she became a little too tame. Ow. Okay, Bella, can you go in there for Mama? Go in there. I won't let it slap. I won't let it slap, baby. Okay. So you get there, and you've got your carrier, and you walk up, and hopefully this is going to be covered, but they're usually not. What you want to do is open your carrier, and then watch. They'll normally, of course she's not because she's not scared, but normally they're all crunched up in the back, and they're like this. So I'll take the blanket that I've got. I usually have one in the carrier, and I'll have one with me. And I'll just take it and just kind of, if there's nothing over it, just to kind of, calm it down a little bit. And then I just raise this up, and you just have to keep an eye out. And you're just going to slide that up there like that. And then I get down, and then you just... And then you just want to, real easy, and it works every time. If you blow on them, you don't have to pull on them. You don't have, every now and then you might blow on one and they'll kind of turn around and do like that. But if you go and you blow a couple more times, they're going to turn around and they're going to run right in there. Same thing if you've got, you've got your carrier and you're dropping off to another transporter so that they can bring it to Sherry. Just butt those carriers up, get to the back, blow, and it'll run right in. Another way, throw you a piece of cheese in there, throw a couple of grapes in there, whatever it takes. You just don't ever want to pull on them. You don't want to yank on them. They're stressed enough as it is. They've been through a lot, and I'll get them, and the little girl I got last night, she got caught like early yesterday morning, and she sat there all day long exposed. No cover, no nothing, just sitting there.
Other things, if you're transferring them, their tails, if they get scared, they will hook their tail. So that's another reason we don't like to pull them out, because they use that tail to hang on. And you try to pull them and their tail's hooked, it'll hurt their tail as well.
If you're going, most places you go, if you have to set a trap, that the possum is there because there's cats or dogs in the area. So when you set that trap, you're gonna catch a cat. So what you need to do is a cat's not gonna want a little Debbie oatmeal cake or a banana, but they are like, oh man, yeah, a Debbie cake. So, and in the summertime, the ants are really, really bad, and you put a Debbie cake out there, or even canned cat food, and they're gonna go for it. So what I'll do is, back here in the bag, you can just take, a little tin foil pie plate or pot pie plate, and sit a little can down in there, like a cat food can. Just put a little bit of water in it, and then the ants can't get into the food. But now, if there's ants around, there's pheromone ants and fire ants. And so what I'll do is, if I see them, I'll just take one and smash it and smell it. If I can smell it, it's a pheromone ant, and they're not gonna hurt them. If they were in the area, I'm not gonna sit it down on top of them, of course, but I'm not gonna freak out. But if it's fire ants, then that's when we gotta come up with something else. Try to put the trap in a different spot, see if we can lure them to a different spot, something.
Can you just said with the ants, so if it's just when you say pheromone, you mean like a regular ant, right?
Well,
It's like not a fire ant.
right, not a fire ant.
So if it is a fire ant, how would you know? Because it's just going to bite you?
No, if it's a pheromone ant,
Okay.
when you squish it, you
Okay.
get it to about right here, and whoo, you can smell it.
And what does it smell like? I don't know. I've never
Have you ever smelled a pheromone ant?
I don't know, I kill them if they're.
It's a strong smell. I wouldn't say it's like a
And
bad
so if it was
smell.
a fire ant, it wouldn't smell like anything?
No, there's no smell
Okay,
at all.
and that's okay, because that's
Yeah,
not
yeah, and fire ants are teeny tiny too. Those red ants, they'll bite the fire out of you, but they don't smell either.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go find an ant and smell it.
Yeah. Really, we get pheromone ants around our house every year, and it's like, okay, you're good. So I'm okay with pheromone ants because they're not going to bite, and they're not going to bite the animals. Let's see. Okay, so if you do get one, and she's going to go to sleep, and then I'm going to have to take her back out. If you do get one, and when you get there, its jaw is stuck. I'm going to be quite honest with you, it's hard to get their jaws unstuck because they're trying to do this and pull, because that's just what they do. They clamp and they pull. I've done a couple of different things. We have used a wooden spoon. You can just kind of, I don't have real long arms, but usually I have one of my sons with me, and you can slide a wooden spoon in between their mouth, kind of push down, and once you can get one top or lower jaw to move, they'll move. I've also taken a towel and wrap it around, stick my hands in there, and just to pad, because as soon as that mouth is off, it's going to snap shut. If you get one, we've had people call and they have their heads, because they get in trash cans, stuck in jars, like mason jars, mayonnaise jars, mayo. And when Beth went to get mayo, she said, this little possum's been running around all day with his head stuck in a mayonnaise jar. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm glad you're home, because I want to know how you're going to do this, because I thought, how would you get that off? And what she did was, their head's stuck in there, and they're pushing and they're pulling. She just took the skin, you may have to burrito them up. Here. And I wonder if she'll let me see if she'll let me do this to her. With the, oh, you're hiding. Oh. Okay, let me see. All right, so I'm going to show you now how to pick them up when they're being, Yeah, I just put my hand on her butt, I grab at the base of her tail, and go up under her like that. And that's why children being and if you smell something, she's in heat, so if you get a hankering for a tuna fish sandwich, that's why, because she's very strong right now. You know, they're gonna hold on. You can see how she holds on to my forearm, but I mean, I've got to hold her. If I've got a wild one, I'm holding pretty tight. But if they've got their heads, say they're stuck. Come here, Bella. I know you're gonna get really mad at me, aren't you? Then if you can burrito them up, because they're not gonna be able to bite you, and sit down, then what she did was she just took the skin and she started just pulling back the skin around the neck and kind of moving, pulling back, moving, and it just slid right off. So, and then we have mayo. Yeah. Okay, all right, you can go, you can get back in there now. I'm very sorry, ma'am. I'm very sorry. There you go.
So it doesn't hurt them to hold them by their tail like you did?
No, you don't ever want to, you know, I see people on TV and they've got the possum and they're holding on. You don't want to do that because that's connected straight to their spine. It's just like with a snapping turtle. You don't ever want to grab them by their tail. So just always, and you know, just be careful because you want to grab down as close to the base, as close to their butt as you can get, and then just slide quick. You don't want to, you know, and sometimes if they're really wild, you may have to grab and kind of, okay, and then slide. It's not going to be just a, because you're getting them, and they, for all they know, you're gonna eat them. You're gonna kill them. They're gonna die. So they're not gonna just sit still like you could just pick him up.
You can't use him for an example of anything.
Yeah, because he's just kind of like, nah. So, but they're gonna do pretty much what she did. I think in this, and I'm not sure why Beth did it, but this is what we did a program the other day, and the little boy goes, "How come your arms are all scratched up?" And I said, "Because I pick up possums all the time." But that's what happens. So don't, you know. It says normally when you pick them up, they're going to move around. When they're really, really scared, and I pick one up like that, they're normally like, "Oh my God, what do I do?" You know. And it says that they'll play dead. They don't really. They don't play dead. They just kind of. Oh wow, they got me, is more of the thing that you get. Now, if you have one, what I call a juvenile, say the body is about like this, and you go to pick it up like that, it's not real good because they're small enough they can whip around and get you.
I'd rather handle that size than
Yeah.
2.5.
Yeah, oh yeah, if I'm gonna get bit, I'm gonna get bit by one that's like this more than one that's this size. If it's one that is, you know, smaller than her and it's wild, that's when I'll use a blanket. I personally can't use gloves because I don't have the strength in my hands and my hands just aren't big enough. And so I'm kind of walking around like this and I can't feel. But if you need to use gloves, use gloves. You know, and a lot of people, that makes them feel better.
And will like a heavy duty leather glove, will that prevent their teeth from getting through?
Yeah,
If they're pretty thick, if they're
I've got these.
Okay. And they can't necessarily get so much through those.
Yeah, because they're not gonna,
I'm gonna get a full open mouth.
yeah, it's not a latch on. Sometimes when a male's in rut and he wants to hold on to you, he'll latch on and he actually sinks and holds. Theirs is it's a quick little snap, just because it's just put me down, let me go. So it's not something that they're just gonna, really, it's not like a raccoon. Raccoon, you have to have those major gloves for them because they really, there you go, pretty girl.
And Connie, always if they maybe got to a situation and the possum was in the trap and the teeth were hooked like that, I've asked the people on the property, can I just take your trap?
Yeah,
And then I brought it back to my home and I transferred it into a garage, into a carrier in the garage where it was really bright when I got to her. She didn't have it covered, sitting up against the side of her house. The brick had made it real hot, so it was already dehydrated. But I brought them home and just took the trap back and So that's,
And most people
they'll
let you.
They'll say,
Yeah.
and she called another one when I took it back.
If you go, sometimes people will call you and, especially during baby season, and they've got a little one loose in their house. And you'll go in, went in one time and they had the tables turned over in the kitchen, up against the kitchen door, and they were all in the living room, and I kid you not, this possum was this big. And they were just, oh yeah, but a possum, she's a decent sized girl. There are places in here that she can squeeze that you would not believe. I mean, it's almost, like a rat. If they can get their head in, they can get their body in. It's pretty much the same thing with a possum. So if you go, yeah, they're not gonna be in there, check. Use a flashlight, check, and see if they are. They're not gonna always stay down. They go up. You wanna tell them what happened with Opie when he got lost when he was a baby?
Gosh, I thought I lost him. He was in the bathroom and I had all three of them and the other two were there and I was like, where is he? And I looked everywhere. And my bathroom's probably the size of this right here. I looked everywhere. I called Casey. I was crying. I said, please come help me. I've lost Opie in my house. I had a tiny little gap under the door going into the bedroom and I thought, I'm doomed. He's managed to flatten and go out. I looked everywhere. I went outside, I was crying, my husband comes in there, and he walks right into the bathroom, and he goes, oh, well, there he is. And my window is 9 feet off the ground, and he was sitting up on the rod on my curtains, just looking down at me. And he goes, you didn't think to look up, they climb, and I go, get him down for me. But yeah, he went straight up that curtain, I mean, no bigger than that, just sitting up on the curtain rod. So, and I never thought to look up, I'm just thinking, of places that made sense on the ground, so.
Yeah, and I've gotten them in people's bedrooms. Of course, I always ask. And a lot of times I'll say, "Do you want to go in there with me?" And they're like, "No, you go in and shut the door." I'm like, okay. So which I don't like to do that, but you said I could go. You go in, and I've gotten them where. Maybe there's a suit hanging and they'll climb up that and they'll be sitting up on the shelf in the closet, just chilling out. They're like, they're good. This was not a good place that I went in. And there were a bunch of old wigs in the bathroom. And there was just a little nest there, and you could tell that's where it had been sleeping, so I knew I was on the right track. And this one had gotten one of their favorite places is if they're in a bathroom up next to, you'll have about that much between the cabinet and the floor, and it'll be about that deep. They'll get up in there and up into a corner, and their linoleum had kind of lifted up underneath that. You couldn't tell if you just walked in, but it had gotten up and up in between the linoleum and there, and that's how I got it. So I pulled it out. But don't ever think that they're not gonna go there. Look, I'm serious. And a baby, if you get a baby loose in your car, the best thing to do is, they have the smaller traps, and if y'all ever need a trap, just, let me know.
Yeah, this one actually came with a
little one in it, yeah. Put it in your car. We had one get loose in our car, and could not find that baby. My husband was fixing to take the seats out of the car because I was freaking out. And we ended up just put a trap in the car, put food in it. And when it's bad is when it's really hot, but you just have to leave the windows down and hope and pray that it's not gonna, it's not gonna crawl out. Which, they're not crawling. But, I was paranoid and scared to death. And it wasn't long, boom. It came out to get that food. I still don't know where that little possum was. It had to be like literally up in the seat. But they're gonna go any place they can go where they're gonna feel like they're safe. That's where they wanna go. So, you just have to check everywhere. If you get one, had a lady call me, where he was, there was an air conditioning unit. And then the house went like this, and then it was, it was open. Well, she didn't want him to get away because we knew that he was injured, and she was up upper part of the state, and so I was like, you know, you're gonna have to, what I tell people is if you can, because they're not real fast, but they can go in spurts pretty fast, is if they're cornered, I try to just, you know, just like you would with any animal, I just take the blanket and, you know, if you want to have your gloves on, that's fine, and then I just slowly go in, and it's good if you've got somebody there that can help you, you know, on that other side, so if they decide to go one way or the other, and then I'll just, and they'll usually, they'll kind of start moving, but that gives you an opportunity to be able to just kind of, you know, it gives you that split second where you can grab them, and then even with the blanket, I have done it, I can still, you know, you get the tail, or then you can pick them up like this. If you need to get one out of a carrier, I mean, just for whatever reason, I don't like to, even with her, I mean, I love the top load carriers for this reason. That's her space right now, and if I go and ram my hand up in there, oh, I'm putting my hand in her space, and she's gonna let me know right quick that it's her space, and I'm gonna get bit. I mean, with my tamest possums, I would not just ram my hand up in there. It's easier if, you know, if you don't have a top load, but just say that, you know, this wasn't, then I would just take it off, and especially a wild one, when you take that off, they're exposed and they go like that, because you would think they would go and take off, but they don't. They just kind of cower down, and then I can just reach down and then just slide up under them and you know, put them wherever it is I need to put them. So if you do need to get one out, hey baby, if you do need to get one out, you know, all my carriers that don't have little things like this or don't have the flip sides, I have zip ties on, and I keep a pair of little pincers everywhere. I've given Sherry a pair, and I just pop those little ties and then just take the top right off, and then I can get them out. I did that mama that way last night. She, you know, she wasn't happy. She's got a broken tooth, she's got a pouch full of babies, and she's been in a trap all day long, but I needed to put her into a bigger kennel, and so, you know, I just took the whole thing off, and she went like that, and I just reached down and picked her up and put her, you know, where she needed to go. So, oh, she, here, baby, poor thing. We'll give you another blankie to hide under. There you go. So she's like, I knew I shouldn't have got up this morning. I knew I shouldn't have got up this morning. So, I should have brought babies. Heaven knows I've got enough. If you go and there's a dead mom, some people, if you're not comfortable taking the babies off of the dead mama, that's okay. Bring the whole mama. It doesn't matter. You know, you can just lay her on a towel, or, you know, my husband had a box he used to keep in his car till I taught him how to take them off. And he would just he'd bring the whole thing and sit it in the bathtub and go, here. I'd take them off, and then he would take the mama. So you don't ever have to worry about, you know, she looks pretty bad. No, bring the whole mama. If you'd rather bring the mama, bring her.
She could be dead and they can still be alive.
Yeah, I have gotten, those babies are gonna live on that dead mama until her milk is dried up. So they could live, you know, 24 hours easy on that dead mama's milk. So if you see one on the side of the road, chances are, especially this time of year, if she's got babies, they're probably still, they're alive. I went and picked up 9 at 3 o'clock this morning, and you know, mama was, from what the girl said, in pretty bad shape, and they're all good. They're great. Don't ever, the teats, when they're born, they come out, their mouths are open, they're not sealed. They attach to a teat, and the mouth seals around that teat, and they're there. They swallow it. They don't really suck, their mouth will kind of move, but mom pretty much pumps that milk to them. So when you go to get a baby off of a teat, it's not like a puppy or a kitten, and they're just gonna let go. It's swallowed, it's in there, and there is an actual suction. So what you wanna do wow, I can't believe, I should have brought a baby. I mean, use your
Oh, yeah, use mine. Oh, I got a possum up there.
Oh, you do? Oh, well, yeah, well, this is smaller. What you're gonna do, so the baby's there, and it's on the teat, so, and this is mama. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna take that baby like this by the head, and they're hardy, it's okay, you're not gonna squeeze them. Hold like this, and then I'm gonna take these 2 fingers and I'm gonna slide in between. Well, as I'm sliding, they're gonna start coming off, you know, and I'll just slightly push down on mama and pull back on that baby, and when that baby comes off, you'll feel you'll feel that little suction come off, and you know, you can put them in, I've got some little zipper pouches, little fleece pouches, and I just, you know, put them all in there. Just whatever you do, you don't want to just grab the baby and go, because especially if she's been dead for a little bit, that teat will break off, and have had people cut them. And if I can't get that teat out of their mouth, I have to have them euthanized because I can't feed them because it's stuck in there. The girl, I got some yesterday, and 2 of them, she said she couldn't get. I'm thinking, why can you get 7 off and you couldn't get the other 2 off? But she decided she would cut them, and so she took a knife and she cut the teats off. And I got 1 out, the other one I can't get out. I don't know if this little boy's gonna live or not, but I can get the tube in honestly about this far, and so he's eating drop by drop. I don't know. This is a new area for me. I don't know if he's gonna live, and I just don't have the heart to take him and put him down because he's drinking. I just can't do it. But
They're such little fighters.
they really are. They are fighters. But just make sure you don't wanna, you don't wanna just slow, steady pull, and you'll feel them. They'll just come right off. But if you don't want to, that's fine. Not a problem at all. Just bring mama and we'll do it for you. When you get them in the car, they're scared. They're really scared. So, I mean, I'm not one, if I'm by myself, I'll have the radio on. If anybody's in the car with me, I don't ever have the radio on because, I don't know, it distracts me or something because I'm trying to talk and I don't want the radio interrupted. But, keep the radio, if you're going to have your radio on, keep it low, because if you think about it, they've never heard music. They've either just been hit by a car, they've been trapped, or who knows, why you're picking them up. There's something wrong that you're picking them up. So, if you can keep it low, and you always want to keep that carrier covered. Always. Now, she's not covered because it's her, but if I have a wild one, even when I get it to the house, say, you've got a doctor's appointment, you can't get it by the office right now, and you go, well, I'm going to just take it to my house. That's fine. Take it to your house, put it in a quiet room, shut the door. But even if there's nobody there, cover it, because it doesn't know that there's nobody there, and it's going to be scared. If you smoke, it's better if you don't smoke in the car with them. But if you do, if you can just roll the window down, so they're not getting that smoke. If you get one, a lot of times when they're hit by a car, people call me and go, well, I think I should just take it and have it put down because it's going, and I'm like, no. 9 times out of 10, if we get one that's been hit by a car, they're going to have that gurgly, nasally breathing, and that's okay, so don't let it startle you. They may even be doing that, and they can have bloody bubbles coming out their nose. They can look really, really, really bad, and they'll survive. As soon as we get them, we're going to give them pain medication, and so, just try not to panic and think. I had a little girl, literally, and I should have brought some pictures. When we do the medical class, you can see the side of her face was pretty much, it had just been gnawed off. And she had a huge gash on her back hip, and she had 8 babies in her pouch, and she was laying in a parking lot over in Berea in the July sun. She had just given up. She was done. Something had attacked her, and I went over there and I scooped her up and I brought her home. That was 1.5 years ago. She's good. Can't tell a thing. She's blind because her eyes are gone, but she's good. So just try not to, panic and think, well, maybe I should just take it on to my vet and let him put it out of its